All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is Friday morning, and this is the weekend before Thanksgiving, and I hope it's off to a blessed start for all of you, wherever you may find yourself. This is Joe Imbriano, the Fullerton Informer, coming to you live from the streets of Orange County, California. And today's weather forecast in Southern California is fair with a chance of chemtrails, ladies and gentlemen. And it looks like about a 90% chance of chemtrails. Today's highs can be expected to range anywhere from 70 at the beaches to the upper 70s inland. And this weather forecast is brought to you by the manufacturers of aluminum oxide and those proud pilots who spray this shit out of the airplanes at 30,000 feet every day, or those proud operators of the automated aircraft that fly those missions. At any rate, I'm glad you're joining me. We've got good notifications this morning, it looks like, and it's Friday morning, and I wanted to talk to you about the chief musician, ladies and gentlemen. Now, it's very, very interesting when you start looking at the music industry. And I know that all of you, as I, spent a good part of our teenage and adolescent life listening to music. As a matter of fact, we could actually sing along with these songs and recite these lyrics and not even question what we were reciting. It is an amazing form of mind control. And you know, growing up, you hear the older kids listening to it, and then, you know, you start listening to it because that's cool because they're listening to it. So you start listening to it, and before you know it, you know, you're listening to it with the older kids, and then when you become older, you're listening to it, right? Well, that's how music works, and I have to admit that some of it sounds pretty cool, and music is extremely powerful, folks, because I can remember things that I was taught as a child in school that were connected to a song from 47 years ago, and I can still remember what I was taught that was connected to a song, because music is a powerful learning tool. And make no bones about it, folks, music is not entertainment, it is indoctrination. And with indoctrination comes a good share of predictive programming, and that's what I really want to focus on this morning. It's absolutely unbelievable, the amount of predictive programming in the music, and it's absolutely frightening when I look back at several of the artists or groups that I listened to as a child. I'm in my 50s, and maybe a lot of you are too, and I think you can all remember the songs that were on the airwaves in the years of the time of your life when you came of age. And, you know, when you're 12 or 13, I think we're probably, when I was 12 or 13 years old, that's when my really, really fond memories began to cement, and I had some of the best recollections of some of the best times of my life. You know, the younger years were fabulous. I had a great childhood. I grew up on a cul-de-sac in a working class neighborhood with a bunch of families, with a bunch of kids, and we played till the street light came on, and our parents called us in, and we played in the street all the time. Ditch 'em, hide and go seek, baseball, football. We'd climb trees. We'd ride our bikes to the beach. I mean, it was a great time, folks. And yeah, it was all done in smog alerts without sunscreen and helmets, and here we are to live to tell about it. But the fact remains is that we were all just innocent children, blind to the reality of what we were living in. We were living in this sandbox that had walls around it, and the sand was polluted, folks, and they were polluting our minds with this music. But on the top of the airwaves in 1979, once again, the group was called Supertramp, and they had a lot of hits, folks. They had a lot of hits, whether they were taught what to sing or whether they were somehow inspired to sing about what they were going to sing about is one discussion, but I want to focus your attention to the album cover of the Supertramp album called Breakfast in America, ladies and gentlemen. And I want everybody that has the ability to go to their computer right now and look up the album cover for Supertramp Breakfast in America right now. Just give yourself a second and do that. All right. So if you will look at this album cover, now then type in 9/11 after that. Now I want to talk to you about this album cover because every time I used to slip this out of the cabinet and put that album on my turntable, I first of all never paid much attention to the cover. I just couldn't wait to hear the songs I wanted to play. And it never made much sense to me, the symbolism on the cover of that album. But nonetheless, it was a fixture in my record collection for many, many years. And so if you will look at the cover of the Supertramp Breakfast in America album, you will see a view outside an airplane window, looking through an airplane window. And you will see what appears to be a waitress, a Caucasian waitress, holding up a tray with some orange juice on it. And behind that is the entire island of Manhattan. That's right. The Supertramp Breakfast in America album has the cover that depicts a waitress holding up a glass of orange juice on her tray with the island of Manhattan right behind the orange juice. And you could clearly see the Twin Towers. Now, if you take this album cover and put it in a mirror, you will see right above what is clearly the Twin Towers are the numbers 9/11. Now, you can call that a coincidence, folks. You could call that a coincidence. Stay with me on this, folks. Stay with me on this for a second. Now, I want you to look in a search engine and type in Breakfast in America promo album sleeve or album cover and look that up. And what you will see is absolutely frightening. In the upper right corner of that album sleeve or cover, you will see what appears to be a jetliner flying into the belly or the abdomen of this waitress that has taken the place of the Statue of Liberty with the Twin Towers in the background. Now, this is in 1979, ladies and gentlemen. And the symbolism that I can gather from that promo album sleeve or cover is that that plane would strike at the heart of America. After all, Breakfast in America was something that was as germane to our existence as anything. So tell me, folks, what kind of coincidence is that? To the chief musician, did you know that Satan was the chief musician in heaven? Did you know that? I don't know what happened to the stream, folks. Do we still have a stream? All right. Well, I'm glad I still got you here. Anyway, I'm just going to focus on 9/11 for the moment here and the Supertramp album. And, you know, they put out another album called Crime of the Century, ladies and gentlemen. And, you know, when I was 12 years old, I was only concerned about getting good grades in school, going to church on Sunday, and flirting with the girls that I came in contact with. And, you know, folks, yeah, they're messing with the stream, all right, folks. When we start touching on stuff like this, they start really messing with it. And, you know, I'm on the same trajectory I'm on every day. We never have this problem. But when you start talking about how the music plays out to the plans they lay out, and how they hide it in plain view, and it's kind of it's an allegiance to their God, to put it in our face, and then they come into our place, and then they do what they damn well please and think they can get away with it. But I just want you to look at that album cover, the Breakfast in America album by Supertramp. And then I want you to look up the promo album cover or sleeve for Breakfast in America, and fix your attention on the upper right corner, that little circle, and put a magnifying glass on it, folks. It's going to blow your mind. So we've got somebody who has put out an album called Supertramp, and was one of the greatest hits in 1979. Album was just full of hits. And that was about the same year they coined the phrase, the War on Terror. That's right. That's where that phrase was born, and that year, that was the year the phrase War on Terror was born. And Supertramp cuts an album called Breakfast in America, and the cover of the album is a view out, not a train window, not a bus window, not a bedroom window, not a kitchen window, not a restaurant window, not a car windshield, an airplane window with the view of Manhattan. And if you look at that in the mirror, it shows 9/11 over the Twin Towers. And then if you have the promo album for Supertramp from that year, you know, if you were a disc jockey, worked at a radio station, or had inside connections. Wow. Here we go again. Cut me out. If you had inside connections to the music industry, ladies and gentlemen, we have a stream again here. Do I still got you guys? Yeah, they're really messing with you. So I'm going to repeat my sentence. I'm going to repeat my sentence, folks. If you were an insider in the music industry in 1979, if you worked at a radio station or television station, you were connected with Hollywood in any way, you would have been given a promotional album for this particular production piece by Supertramp, and you would have been given a promotional album. And on the promotional album cover in the upper right hand corner, you will see a picture that shows an airplane running into the Statue of Liberty, right in the midsection of the Statue of Liberty, who is actually that woman in the waitress outfit instead of the Statue of Liberty. And right behind her are the Twin Towers and Manhattan. Ladies and gentlemen, what in the world is going on? Well, I'll tell you. I'll tell you what's going on, folks. Their plans are made long in advance for us. Their plans are made well in advance for future generations and future expectations of their master. And I want to tell you something. My master made plans before time began, and he knew the day I would be born and the day I would die. And he sent his son to die on that cross, to defeat the works of this chief musician, to defeat the works of this prince of the power of the air, to defeat the works of this vile liar, murderer, and thief called the devil. But he's powerful, folks, because he's got a lot of people following him. To this day, he's got a lot of followers, folks. You know, when I got a little older, there was a group called Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark, OMD. Remember them? Look up the album cover for Tesla Girls. That's right. Take a moment and go to the internet and look up the album cover for Tesla Girls, folks, from OMD. And what you will see there is a wire harness around what appears to be a girl's lips that are being actually positioned in such a way to reference a vagina. And that is nothing more than hiding in plain view the electromagnetic sterilization agenda of wireless laptops and iPads coming, that's right, decades later. To the chief musician, ladies and gentlemen. To the chief musician whose abode is the bottomless pit and the lake of fire. And to my God and my Savior, Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ, all glory, honor, and power, and praise, and dominion forever and ever. And to the devil and his followers, to hell with you, because that's where you're heading. And some of you look like you've been living in hell from following him. The points I'm making here, specifically about the events of the World Trade Center's demise, is it certainly seems to me that somebody, somewhere, somehow, when I was 12 years old, just wanting to be a young boy who wanted to go fishing and go camping with his family, and dreamed about falling in love someday and having a family of his own. These records that I was spinning on my turntable actually had planned out and plotted out and predicted the most horrific and deadly disaster in United States history ever committed on United States soil, with the exception of Pearl Harbor. But undoubtedly, the most far-reaching implications that any act of murder and violence perpetrated against American people by its enemies was laid out in front of me on an album cover. And one of the hit songs from that album was the Logical Song. There are times when all the world's asleep, the questions run so deep. I know this sounds absurd, but please tell me who I am. Do they even have you questioning the core of your existence and your being? The ultimate confusion, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? The ultimate confusion. Well, isn't the devil the author of confusion? Now, I'm not saying that these musicians are satanic. I'm saying that they're just doing something that they're being... I mean, like the guys from OMD, you really think those punk kids from England had any clue they were singing about the electromagnetic agenda that was coming? Now, if you take some of their album sleeves from Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark and you look at some of their album sleeves, you'll see the 5G chips in there. Do you think those kids had any idea what they were doing? No. They were just given a bunch of money and put under a spell and said, here you go. And they performed, folks. One of my biggest concerns I have for all of you, ladies and gentlemen, is that when you listen to music and when you watch movies, it puts you in a trance, and the programming is poured into you. You know, I remember I was having some difficulties before I got married with my wife, who at that time was my fiance, and I had some doubts whether I was going to go to the altar, and those doubts were obviously of the devil, not realizing it at the time. But the words of Elton John came into my mind one night when I had given her back the ring, or she had given me back the ring, because I had asked for it back. And the song was "Someone Saved My Life Tonight. You nearly had me roped and tied." You know, so I'm replaying this song I heard from my childhood in my head, and it was like justifying, yeah, I should marry this woman. She almost had me, right? Well, needless to say, 20 years later, I've got the best marriage on the face of the earth, and I love my wife, and I've got 4 beautiful children as a result of not listening to Elton John's advice, and all the other advice from all these musical superstars. You know, don't ever want to fall in love again. I've lost that love and feeling. You've lost that love and feeling. And love is a battlefield. I mean, everything that the devil has designed and deployed is an attempt to thwart the divine plan for human happiness, survival, and propagation of those created in God's image to inherit eternal life. Everything he does is an attempt to thwart that. And those that survive that thwart and end up getting born begin to be subjected to an endless onslaught and barrage of eugenics, wars, vile filth, debauchery, perversion, suffering, enslavement, and abuse, and Kabbalistic, ritualistic sacrifice that is all packaged and primed for your consumption. It is unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. It is unbelievable how they tell us they're going to kill us, how they tell us they're going to pervert us, how they tell us that we're not going to get married, how they tell us to kill our children. Romeo Void, 1984. A girl in trouble is a temporary thing. Telling girls to kill their unborn children. And this goes to the people that run K-Rock. May you rot in hell for the shit that you spin to this day. Yeah, I remember K-Rock. Everybody thought that was the greatest station in Southern California. And they got these people that, like, what was his name? Like Dr. Drew, who told everybody, oh, it's okay to screw everybody and get venereal disease. Just wear a condom, right? Giving out the worst advice on his Loveline thing. I don't know where that piece of filth is today. Then you had people like Richard Blade and the Poor Man, you know, spinning all this music that was all about pornography and masturbation and abortion. I mean, my gosh, to the chief musician, right? I mean, this is what the devil has brought us. You see, let me ask you a question. Can you imagine what the music must sound like in heaven? Can you imagine what the music must have sounded like before he got thrown out of heaven? You know, I was at a church service many years ago, and I will tell you that there was this church that I used to attend. It's called the First Evangelical Free Church of Fullerton, EV Free. And at the time, this church employed the use of a massive organ, an incredible organ, a pipe organ. I mean, it was, you know, 100 feet tall, the pipes on this thing, 50 feet wide, and it had a choir, and in front of the choir, it had an orchestra. And there was one day, I can only pinpoint one Sunday, there was one Sunday where there was a worship service that was taking place, and it was a Christian hymn that was being sung. And it was Jesus Paid It All. Jesus paid it all. And I want to tell you something, folks. What was flowing through my veins was the Holy Spirit, and what was flowing through my eye were tears down my face. Because I felt the closest thing to probably what the music sounded like and felt like in heaven that I will ever feel for the rest of my life. And the music is extremely powerful. Music can make you cry. Music can make you mad. Music can make you want to kill yourself. Music can program advice into your body and brain. Music can make you do things you wouldn't normally do. Music would make you have sex with people that you wouldn't normally have sex with. And music could make you have sex with members of the same sex that you wouldn't normally think about because it programs you to do so. And it justifies your conscience, and it gives you an out, and it's a mind control system, folks, aside from the predictive programming. And it's extremely powerful. Why do you think there's so much money in the music business? Well, because it's one way to make you think what they want you to think. It's one way to get you to drink what they want you to drink. It's one way to get you to eat what they want you to eat. It's one way to get you to have sex with who they want you to have sex with. It's one way to get you to dress the way they want you to dress. It's one way to get you to drink and pop pills the way they want you to, folks. And it's the biggest and the best way to get you under a spell, so you're constantly in a state of hypnosis to where they can program you and you can't break your conditioning, folks. It's extremely powerful. Our DNA, folks, our DNA is a fractal antenna, and everything about our bodies runs on resonant frequencies and electromagnetic interactions. They got it all down. They got it all down, folks. I just wanted to have you study the World Trade Centers in depth as a follow-up to my program yesterday, and look at the Supertramp Breakfast in America album cover, and then look at the Supertramp Breakfast in America promotional album cover in the upper right-hand corner with a magnifying glass, and you won't believe your eyes, folks. And this was in 1979. Now, that whole discussion I had, and you can look up this other album called Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark, OMD. The album was called Tesla Girls. Tesla Girls, folks. I mean, come on, what's a Tesla girl? Well, you know, I guess we're dealing with Tesla girls now, folks, because all these girls have been subjected to the social media and the electromagnetic destruction of their ovaries. And Tesla girls, now and then they'll watch TV, now and then they'll speak to me. You know, I mean, look, you could go down rabbit holes. All of the music, folks, all of the music has all these cryptic meanings in it, and all of these agendas that are subliminally programming you. So I strongly suggest that you stop listening to the music. It's hammer time for the music, folks. To the chief musician, Satan himself, go screw yourself, you vile bastard, and go to hell where you belong. Because that's where you're going to spend eternity, with all your pals. Hammer time for Hollywood's music. Now, I think the other day Celine Dion, that vile scumbag, has come out with a, and don't give me a hard time about her, she's a vile scumbag if you look at what she's just done. Celine Dion has come out with an androgynous clothing line, and if you look at the promotional video for her clothing line, you will see her. It opens up as her running away from the guards, the security guards, and they end up tackling her, and she's on the ground and says, "Oh, hey, I'm Celine Dion," and then one woman gets her up and says, "Oh yeah, and I think she said, "Oh, I'm Beyonce," another Illuminati's sex whore, Beyonce. And so it shows Celine Dion pulling up in her Escalade and then caressing her black purse and, you know, having this seductress look on her. She gets out of her Escalade and struts herself into this hospital, and she's carrying this black bag with, looks like the Red Cross, but it's a white cross, and walks into a maternity ward full of babies. And on one side is the girls all lined up in their little cribs with their little, you know, their bassinets on, and on the other side's the boys, right? And there's a picture of the boy on the wall and the girl on the wall. And she walks in the room and does some black magic ceremony. And you can see the symbol of black magic on the right side. There's some, like, goblin-looking cat or something. And then what happens is, all of a sudden, the little picture of the girl on the wall disappears, and then the picture of the boy on the wall disappears. And then she moves around with a little black magic dust in her hand and starts blowing it and reciting some mantra about how this, that, or the other. And all of a sudden, these children no longer have the pink and the blue. They're wearing these black and white, weird-looking outfits as she does away with gender, folks. As Celine Dion, the Illuminati sex slave whore, that's right, the vile, disgusting, debaucherous, mind control Manchurian candidate of Las Vegas' Caesar's Palace Endless Run. That's right, who wrote the theme song to the Titanic about how to cheat on your wife and your husband and commit suicide and go to heaven. That was the theme of that freaking movie. Look at the end, folks. Guys are cheating on their spouse. They go downstairs and start romping in the steerage unit with the in the car, right? They're all committing this fornication, violating their marriage vows, right? And then they jump off the back of the ship and kill themselves, and they get to spend eternity at the grand staircase? No! So anyway, Celine Dion has now become an enemy of male and female, folks. She's a tool of the darkness, ladies and gentlemen. Promoting all kinds of weird, kinky stuff in her music, hidden meanings in all her songs. It's really sad, ladies and gentlemen. But you know what? To the chief musician, you need to read this. But actually, wait a minute. Satan can't be saved, folks. He has committed the blasphemy of the Holy Spirit. And Satan is damned. I will sing of the mercies of the Lord forever. With my mouth will I make known your faithfulness to all generations. For I have said, mercy shall be built up forever, and your faithfulness you shall establish in the very heavens. He has established his faithfulness in the very heavens. You know what that means? Have you ever seen how big the heavens are? Do you know how big and strong that dome is? Do you know that God has a fierce wrath? And do you know that it's going to be poured out on these workers of iniquity, folks? Let me tell you something. You know, Celine Dion, I think, is the same age as me, and she looks like she's 70 years old. She had to marry some dinosaur artifact Illuminati music producer and have offspring with this creep. All right? And yeah, she's dressed up like the Black Swan in this video. And she's a combination of the Black Swan and Maleficent in her outfit. Getting out of the black Escalade with the black bag with the white cross on it. And putting black and white cat eyes all over everything. Listen, folks, these people serve the devil. These people are evil. They don't care because they sold their souls, folks. And let me tell you something. Everybody that sold their souls, guess what happens? When you sell something, payment is transferred. And you know what happens when payment is transferred? Well, you don't get your money back, and you're bound to that contract. All right. So, your homework assignment is to look up the album cover for Supertramp, Breakfast in America, and then put it in front of a mirror, and you'll see 9/11 right over the trade towers. And then find yourself a picture of the album sleeve from the promo copy, and look at the upper right corner, and there's a red circle that has an airliner flying into the belly or the abdomen of the Statue of Liberty, which has actually been replaced by the woman in the waitress outfit, with the trade centers behind her. Symbolizing flying a plane into the heart of America, folks. That's right. It's exactly what they did. Now, to take it a step further to close this broadcast, I want you to Google David Rockefeller, April 3rd, 1967, Newsweek. And you will see a picture of Mr. Adrenochrome, satanic pedophile, pictured in one of his his office buildings, looking out over the New York skyline, and take a magnifying glass to his watch. And the small hand is on the 9 and the big hand is on the 11, folks. This was 1967. Newsweek magazine commissioning the Trade Center construction, folks. David Rockefeller, who commissioned the construction of the trade centers, pictured overlooking the New York skyline about the Trade Center construction, with 9/11 on his watch, folks. Okay, so if I were to be a betting, gambling man, which I am not, but if I were a gambling man, and I would say, what are the odds of Supertramp, and what does that word translate to? A wandering what, folks? Think about this. Supertramp. Isn't that amazing? Gosh, what's in a name, right? So we've got this album cover that's looking out a jet aircraft window. It's obviously an airplane window. You can clearly see that. And what comes into view is a woman holding up a cup of orange juice, which happens to be right behind that's the 33rd degree parallel, I believe. The island of Manhattan, and if you put this thing in a mirror and turn it around, you'll see 9/11 right over the Twin Towers. And the promo cover for this album that went to all the Hollywood insiders and the music industry insiders, that's a real special one, folks, because up in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see what is an aircraft flying right into either the stomach of the Statue of Liberty, which is actually this waitress from the cover of the album holding the orange juice, or the Twin Towers right behind it. And then when you look at the picture from the Newsweek cover from April 3rd, 1967, with David Rockefeller himself about the Trade Center towers, his watch is on 9/11. Ladies and gentlemen, that's like walking up to the roulette wheel and putting your 401k, the second mortgage on your house, and all of your children's birthrights on the green 00. Come on, folks. Come on! Come on, folks. And screw all you trolls, or you know, you guys are paid to come here to try to make this conversation about something it's not. You know, that just goes to show how threatened you are by me and by the truth that I speak. You vile, disgusting filth. That's right. You that hate the Lord Jesus Christ, guess what? Guess what's in store for you, folks? I don't want to have a part of what's in store for you. Because once you get into that lake of fire, you can't get out. Why do they hate God so much? Why do they hate Jesus so much? Well, they hate the truth, folks. They hate the truth, and these vile scumbags have been planning our demise for years, and guess what? They're behind schedule. Because we all still got our guns, we all still got our Bibles, and we all still got our conscience, and we all still alive, ladies and gentlemen. And they're so scared right now that they want to forcibly vaccinate everybody so they can kill us off with their drugs. And they want to put these Wi-Fi weapons everywhere to kill us off with that. And they're so scared now that they're burning our houses in the mountains and in the rural areas, incinerating people. They're petrified of us, folks. They are so afraid of us that they have to find ways to kill us off and pervert us and destroy us. And you know what? It's not working! It's not working, folks! They're not going to win. Because losers always lose, folks. Losers always lose. And you know what? I don't like Charlie Sheen. But I'll tell you one thing. We're winning. Winning. Yes, we are, folks. We're winning. And we're going to win. You want to know why? Because we can't lose. We can't lose. We can't lose, folks. Now, they're going to keep trying. They're going to keep running all these false flags and staging these epidemics. But we're on to them. And we know that, we know that what they're hiding in plain view with the music industry. I mean, you look at the Boston album. Have a look at that. I mean, it's unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. And I know Charlie Sheen, he's a vile, disgusting human being. But, he doesn't own the copyright to those two words. Those two words can be spoken by people who truly are winning, and we are winning. So, when you look at the music industry, and you look at modern technology, when you look at a group like, say, Boston, and it shows the firmament on their album cover, and then when you look at, like, these new electric cars, like, I think my neighbor has one or two of them, my other neighbor, all these school district scum drive these Teslas, right? Because they're all into irradiating children. But if you look at the Tesla logo, it's a death ray bouncing off the firmament, folks. It's a death ray bouncing off the dome. This is such evil in your face. And the funny thing about these electric cars is they're electrocuting the occupants with these tremendous magnetic fields in these cars. So, if you have a Tesla, you need to get rid of it. Turn it in when your lease is up. Don't get another one. Because the magnetic field, the electromagnetic field coming off of those cars, being inside there, is off the charts, folks. Off the charts. All right, that's enough. Do your homework on Rockefeller and that Newsweek article magazine. Oh, you know what? When you take that Newsweek magazine and you open it up, the back's a cigarette commercial, and it shows some guy and some gal, and there's the Twin Towers right there in red. I mean, it's just like, you can't make this stuff up. The devil is very powerful. He's very wise. He's very cunning. He's very crafty, and he can see beyond time the way we cannot. And that's why, you know, when you fold the $20 bill a certain way, it shows the trade centers and you know, 9/11 on Rockefeller's watch in 1967, and Supertramp's album showing, you know, the planes hitting the skyline. I mean, you and I do not have a mind to make this kind of stuff like that and then orchestrate it to where we got people singing about it and making, you know, solid gold albums out of it, putting it out there to the public. Can you believe this? That the worst thing that ever happened to this country and the worst thing that ever happened to this world since World War II was this war on terror. And the year that was coined, that phrase was coined by Bibi Netanyahu, was the same year that Supertramp cut that album, and they turned it into a solid gold album, and with all this predictive programming about what was going to happen to the New York skyline, literally, you know, decades later, with precision. And how they had everybody singing along with these lyrics, and how when I was growing up, and you know, everybody was singing along with Tesla Girls, and you know, the cheerleaders were doing their routines to Tesla Girls, and then here they are with their daughters having Tesla devices in their laps called iPads, which are just sterilizing them. I mean, it's how dirty he plays. Okay, you know, they get the parents to sing along with the demise of the sons and daughters, and that's how the devil works, folks. I will have no part of it, ladies and gentlemen. I serve the Lord Jesus Christ and his Father in heaven. I serve Yeshua HaMashiach, folks. He is my God. I am not going to submit to the authority of the devil in this life, no matter how he tries to trick me. I'm going to walk away, and I'm going to avoid the temptation, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to allow this vile, fallen creature to take control of my life and destroy my children and destroy my progeny and destroy my offspring's ability to have offspring. And that's exactly what's happening. Hell no. And for the devil, hell yeah, you're gonna burn, pal. And all your scumbag followers are going down with you. And if we don't get you in this lifetime, guess what? You're going to get it when your heart stops beating. And believe me, every one of you vile scum that serves Lucifer is going to have a time when that heart seizes up. That's right. Like when that 327 cam goes flat, the oil pump goes, and that thing throws a rod, and all of a sudden the alternator light comes on, and you're stuck on the Cajon Pass. All right, folks. God bless all of you. And just remember that what you're looking at on television is a doorway to the devil, a scrying mirror, an electronic Ouija board, and it's full of people that are dressed like women that are actually men. It is unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. Get right with God. Jesus saves. His word is on sale at the 99-cent store for $1. His word is on sale at the Dollar Tree for $1. And if you can't read the print, they've also got reading glasses there. God bless all of you guys. And I should have an appointment with the Flowbee this weekend for all of those of you who are complaining. It's been a good week, folks. And sometimes I just like to let it ride. I don't like to shave, and I don't like to do much. I just like to be cash and cool and comfortable for the week and go through it and enjoy myself. And that's what I'm doing, folks. And you're going to see some more incredible stuff, because we've got some incredible guests coming on this channel real soon, and we're going to go deep into the trade centers. I'm going to have a guy on Sunday night who worked in the trade centers, and he knows the buildings like the back of his hand, folks, and it's going to be a great show. So hang in there, and God bless, and have a great weekend, all right? We'll see you around.